Charlie and I liked all kinds of different music, you know, so Charlie, you know, everyone says, oh, Charlie.
He doesn't need to prove anything anymore. He doesn't slow down for anyone. Mick Jagger simply moves, and rock and roll moves with him.
Favorite flavor is cherry red. I sung my song.
For over 60 years, his voice has been the sound of rebellion itself. There are technically better singers, classically trained performers, but nobody captures swagger and danger like him. Nobody makes defiance sound so seductive. He was the art school kid who became rock's greatest frontman, the blues obsessive who learned from American masters, then sold their music back to the world. When British invasion bands played it safe, he pushed boundaries. When critics said rock was dead, he outlasted them all. When younger bands challenged his throne, he just kept dancing. But beneath all that performance, all those stadium shows, are songs that define his journey.
Song royalties are great, but even they can't match the guaranteed cash flow from a reverse mortgage.
Tracks that remind him why he started singing in London clubs, why one man's refusal to compromise could change popular music forever. Jagger remembers which songs felt dangerous when everything else played it safe. He's recorded hundreds of tracks, toured the world countless times, but 10 songs tell his story from blues covers to rock immortality. The greatest showman has been chosen. His picks reveal everything. 10. Start Me Up. Some songs are calculated hits. This one sat rejected for years. Start Me Up began life as a reggae track during mid-70s sessions, then got shelved because it wasn't working. The Stones tried it multiple ways before stumbling onto that iconic opening riff. Sometimes the best songs need time to find themselves. When they finally cracked it for Tattoo You in 1981, the transformation was complete. Keith Richards' guitar riff became instantly recognizable, one of rock's most famous openings. Jagger sang it with defensive authority, proving the Stones still mattered when punk and new wave dominated. The song became their last huge commercial success, reaching number 2. Live performances turned it into ritual. Jagger used it to ignite crowds, that opening riff triggering instant recognition and energy. Decades later, it opens almost every show, the song that proves they're still dangerous. Microsoft used it for Windows 95 launch, paying millions. Jagger didn't mind selling out because the song had already proved itself.
They're reviewing one song, taking, 6 columns,
For Jagger, Start Me Up represents survival through adaptation, how patience creates breakthroughs, how the Stones outlasted everyone by never giving up. 9. Miss You. Some purists hated it. Jagger didn't care about purists. Miss You came from his fascination with disco, working with Billy Preston to create that 4-on-the-floor groove.
It's just some friends of mine, is it? They're gonna bring a case of wine. What's with you?
The Stones embracing disco in 1978 felt like betrayal to rock fans. But Jagger understood music evolves or dies. He wrote it during Keith Richards' legal troubles in Toronto. The band stuck waiting to see if their guitarist went to prison. The song became an escape, Jagger channeling Studio 54 energy into Stones' swagger. That falsetto vocal was completely new for him, showing range nobody knew he had. The bass line was pure dance floor. Charlie Watts' drumming locked into disco rhythm perfectly. Radio stations loved it, taking the Stones back to number 1 after years away. Critics called it selling out. Jagger called it staying relevant.
Out there we did 3 shows. Some of them the first one was really quiet, which is the one that was all reviewed.
The Some Girls album proved the Stones could compete with punk and disco simultaneously, adapting without losing identity. Live performances let Jagger showcase his range, hitting those high notes while moving across massive stages. The song silenced critics who said the Stones were finished. For Jagger, Miss You represents fearless experimentation. How ignoring purists keeps you alive. 8. Beast of Burden. Some songs are Keith's. This one was a collaboration at its finest. Beast of Burden came from the same Some Girls sessions that produced Miss You, but couldn't be more different. Where Miss You was disco, this was pure soul. Jagger wrote lyrics about romantic burden, about wanting to ease someone's pain while carrying his own. The song's groove was understated, that little guitar lick throughout providing the hook. Jagger's vocal was tender, vulnerable in ways he rarely allowed himself to be. No swagger here, just honest longing. The lyrics could be about Bianca, his marriage falling apart, or just the universal feeling of wanting to help someone you love. Recording captured intimacy, the band playing quietly for once. Jagger's voice front and center, every word clear and meaningful. It became one of their most covered songs, everyone from Bette Midler to The Fray finding their own pain in those lyrics. Live versions stayed faithful, Jagger never overselling the emotion. The restraint made it powerful, proving the Stones didn't always need to be loud to be effective.
Yes, it is pretty strange, you think about it, but there was a lot of visiting blues artists.
For Jagger, Beast of Burden represents vulnerability as strength, how the quietest songs sometimes cut deepest. 7. Midnight Rambler. Some performances are captured perfectly in the studio. This one needed the road to breathe. Midnight Rambler appeared on Let It Bleed, but the definitive version came from Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, stretched to nearly 10 minutes of blues exploration.
You see me shot the bed you know.
Jagger crawled into the song's darkest corners, channeling something primal and dangerous. The song was inspired by the Boston Strangler. Jagger fascinated by that darkness. He made the Rambler's voice his own, writhing across the stage during live performances, becoming the character completely. The harmonica solo was raw, desperate. Charlie Watts's drums built tension relentlessly. Keith and Mick Taylor's guitars created an atmosphere thick with menace. This was Jagger's closest connection to the blues masters he worshipped. Not copying them, but understanding them, finding that same dark well they drew from.
This kind of show, after that, it's going to look like Barry Manilow, or I can still sing, but I can't do all this other nonsense.
That human capacity for violence and fear. Critics who said he couldn't sing real blues had to admit this was authentic, channeling troubled spirits through his own voice. The extended live versions became journeys, audiences watching Jagger transform into someone else entirely. No rock star posing, just complete surrender to the music. For Jagger, Midnight Rambler represents connecting with blues tradition while making it his own. 6. Paint It Black. Some songs sound like their time. This one transcended it. Paint It Black emerged in 1966, that sitar opening immediately marking it as different. Brian Jones's sitar work brought Eastern influence to Western rock, creating something genuinely new. But underneath the innovation was grief, real and devastating. Jagger sang about darkness consuming everything after loss, wanting to paint the world black to match his feelings. The lyrics were direct, no metaphor needed. Red doors, flowers, fashion, all turned black by depression's gravity. Critics debated what loss inspired it. Jagger never clarified, letting the universality speak louder than specifics. Live performances kept its urgency, Jagger never softening the edges. Decades later, it still sounds contemporary. That combination of sitar and rock, creating something timeless. Vietnam War soldiers adopted it, finding their own darkness reflected back.
Do you really like women?
Yeah, I really do.
For Jagger, Paint It Black represents emotional honesty without compromise. How darkness expressed becomes light for others' suffering. 5. Jumpin' Jack Flash. Some songs announce returns. This one announced resurrection. Jumpin' Jack Flash exploded in 1968 after the psychedelic missteps of Their Satanic Majesty's request. The Stones returned to raw, blues-based rock. Keith Richards wrote the riff. Jagger named it after Keith's gardener. Simple origins for seismic impact. The song was about resilience, surviving hardship, and coming back stronger. Born in Crossfire, raised by a toothless bearded hag, but still all right. Jagger's delivery was pure swagger, defiance personified. The production was deliberately rough, all the psychedelic polish stripped away. Just guitars, drums, attitude. Live performances turned it into celebration, Jagger leaping across stages while audiences roared along. The song proved the Stones could evolve without losing identity, that going back to basics wasn't regression, but strength. Every comeback since has been measured against this moment. For Jagger, Jumpin' Jack Flash represents finding yourself after getting lost, how simplicity beats complexity when the core is strong. 4. You can't always get what you want. Some songs are simple. This one was epic philosophy. You Can't Always Get What You Want opened with London Bach Choir, gospel meeting rock in unexpected ways. The song built slowly, Jagger's vocals starting gentle, then growing more urgent. The message was life's hardest lesson, dressed in a beautiful arrangement. The lyrics told stories of disappointment, of wanting more than life provides, but the chorus offered wisdom, that distinction between wants and needs. Maybe you can't get what you want, but you get what you need. Jagger was 25, singing words that took decades to fully understand. Recording required full orchestra and choir, ambitious production rarely attempted in rock. The French horn solo became iconic, that moment of pure beauty in the middle of philosophy. The song stretched past 7 minutes, earning every second. It closed, Let It Bleed perfectly, finding hope in acceptance. Live versions added power, Jagger's voice stronger with age, the words more meaningful. 3. Sympathy for the Devil. Some songs court controversy. This one embraced it completely. Sympathy for the Devil came from reading Baudelaire and Mikhail Bulgakov. Jagger fascinated by evil's perspective. He made himself Lucifer's voice, narrating humanity's worst moments with playful menace. The song was provocative as art, brilliant and dangerous. The recording was captured by Jean-Luc Godard's cameras, the Stones working through arrangements over hours. It started with folk, ended with samba. That transformation documented the creative process perfectly, showing how songs find themselves through exploration. The congas drove it forward, Keith's guitar punctuating with stabs of sound. Live performances turned it into ritual, audiences shouting responses, participating in the darkness. Altamont gave it darker meaning, violence erupting while they played. But the song survived, meaning shifting, but power remaining constant. 2. Gimme Shelter. Some songs capture moments. This one captured an entire era's dread. Gimme Shelter opened Let It Bleed with an apocalyptic warning. Vietnam raged, violence everywhere, the 60s peace and love dying. Jagger sang about a world closing in. Shelter becoming humanity's desperate need. The song was a prophecy and documentary simultaneously. Keith's opening riff was ghostly, creating immediate tension. Then Jagger's vocal, urgent and afraid. But the moment that made it immortal was Mary Clayton's backing vocals, her voice cracking with emotion, singing about rape and murder. That crack was real. Her intensity so powerful she nearly broke. They kept it. That moment of complete vulnerability making the song transcendent. Jagger later said it was about the feeling that everything was falling apart. No specific event, just accumulated dread of watching society collapse. The production built that feeling perfectly. Layers of sound creating an atmosphere thick with danger. Live performances maintain its power decades later. The message sadly never becoming dated. Every generation finds new relevance, new reasons to seek shelter. For Jagger, Gimme Shelter represents art capturing the moment when hope died. How darkness is documented becomes testimony. 1. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Some songs are hits. This one invented the modern rock attitude. Satisfaction came from Keith's riff, dreamed while sleeping, then recorded on tape before he forgot. But Jagger's lyrics made it revolutionary, channeling generational frustration into 3 minutes of perfect fury. The song wasn't just about sexual frustration, it was about everything. Consumerism, advertising, phoniness, all of it. The fuzz guitar tone was accidental, Keith experimenting with new equipment. That distortion became rock's signature sound, copied endlessly but never matched. Jagger sang it with sneer perfected, voice dripping with disgust and desire. Radio stations debated playing it, the sexual implication making programmers nervous. It reached #1 anyway, Unstoppable. The song made the Rolling Stones international superstars, separating them from every British invasion band. This wasn't cute or safe, this was dangerous. Teenagers everywhere heard their own frustration validated, their parents' world mocked. Jagger gave voice to millions who felt the same impotent rage against systems they couldn't control. For Jagger, A song isn't great unless it moves people physically and emotionally. These 10 represent his journey: survival, adaptation, vulnerability, darkness, grief, resurrection, wisdom, provocation, prophecy, and revolution. Which Stone song makes you move? Comment below and subscribe for more Rock Immortals.